Okay, so you're looking at the schedule. You guys are in here until what, 9:49. So, hey, for about 20 minutes. About the same exact schedule as yesterday. Period 9 is the only difference. So yesterday's schedule, I think they gave you an extra 15 minutes, so they went to like 1:40 yesterday. Today we're just out at 1:25. So it's the exact same schedule. Lunch is all the same. Hopefully this morning your teacher sent out a link so you could do that thing where you log in if you want to eat school lunch. If you have your own lunch, it's not a big deal. But they sent out a link this morning. Hopefully you took part in that. If you came into school late, maybe you had to do it in the office. I don't know. So if your teacher didn't have you do that, probably should talk to them. Maybe they have a survey or they just asked. But yeah, so we're in here until 9:49. Okay, you have a book in front of you, correct? Okay, so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get your book number from you. So the book number, so if you open up the cover, it should be on the inside. Now it should be on just the inside cover. So if you look at your textbook, so here's your textbook, and you open up the cover and it's got that pre-printed label where it has like names and whatnot. I think the number's like up here. It might be in like red, it might be black. They're literally written in with students, like students wrote those numbers in, I did not. So it's whatever number they decided a couple of years ago to put in there. So, but before we commit to your book, here's what I want you to do. I want you to flip open, see if you can go to chapter 1 and see if chapter 1 is all there. Like all pages, it goes from like, I don't know, 1 to 500. I don't know what chapter 1 goes to. I just made that up. It's could have probably made a better number than that. The reason why usually chapter 1 is the chapter that is missing in some textbooks. You don't need to flip every page. Just see that it looks like it's there. I don't know why. Just some of those older books where people launched it into their locker. Chapter 1 is the first chapter that pops out for some reason. It must be just on the worst spot of that spine. So, hi. All right, so what we're doing right now, checking your book number on the inside of your book, and then seeing if chapter 1 is in your book so that we can check it out. Okay. So, just flip it open. If it looks good, you know chapter 1's there, you know your number. Your number could be weird. It could be some numbers and letters, it could be symbols. Some people got creative with it. It's usually a 2-digit number unless somebody got really crazy and they put a bunch of numbers across the inside of the cover. But again, when you open up the front book cover, the number should be right there. So, but if it's a 2-digit number, even if it's like a 0 number, I need to know that. Some people put like 007, and then some people put just 7. So I gotta kind of deal with it. So, okay. I'm going to pause the camera because I want your names and numbers on camera, so I'll do that here in a second. Is everyone good? Does anyone need a different book, like it's definitely damaged for some reason? We'll exchange it later, like maybe you find out like a month from now, like, oh, I'm missing chapter 3. Okay, we'll exchange it then. But looks good though? Okay, they should be new. I tried to pick out the good books. Some of you already have book covers. You're really lucky. If you don't like said book cover, like it's disgusting, you can tear it off and put your own on there. But maybe you'll like it. I have no idea. You can keep it on there, you can tear it off, you can put a new one. But guess what your first assignment is? Book cover. By Thursday and Friday this week. I'll check it 2 days. I'll give you 2 days. So Thursday or Friday this week, I'm going to check book covers. Some of you that might leave the book cover on it, you already got points. Unless you tear it off and you got to put a new one back on. It can be a paper bag. It could be a socky thing. Does anyone have a sock like that little socky stretchy thing like that? It could be something creative. Just don't duct tape the front of the book. I had somebody do that one year. They just like put duct tape on the book. Thought that would cover it. I can't get it off. It's still in the back. It's terrible. But don't just put loose pieces of paper. Somebody thought it was creative one year and because they forgot to put a book cover on. So in 15 seconds, they like take 2 pieces of paper to the book. Doesn't count. You're a dork. Don't do that. So. Okay, we're good. I'm going to go through numbers. I'm going to set the camera just for a few seconds and then we can get to the thing. I'd like you to take out your Chromebook, if you have it. If you don't, you can just look at your neighbor for right now. It's just, this is going to be a shameless plug, but I want to make sure you guys understand how to get there. Because I had a misprint on the PowerPoint we did yesterday, so I'm hoping that no one went to some stranger's website. I mean, I don't mind giving traffic to somebody else, but if I can't account for how legitimate that website was. So, all right, so open up your Chromebook, you're logged in. If you don't have a Chromebook, that's fine, just look at your neighbors. All right, so here's the web addresses that I'm gonna have you look up. And if you wanna write them down, you wanna bookmark them, I don't care, it's shameless. If you never look at it ever again, won't hurt my feelings. But here's websites. Probably the most common one that people are going to use, ghvmath.com. Now, if you open that up, it should be that, correct? GHV Math. Now, if it doesn't work, let's say like, it ain't working, you could go mrward.org, mrward.org. It's the same website, it'll take you to the same link. And then this is the one I think I got wrong yesterday. It's hsmath.org. I think I had .com on the PowerPoint, and it takes you to some stranger's website, and that's terrifying. I don't want you to go to some random website I haven't pre-screened. So, but all of them take you to the same website. I have a bunch more, but I think these are the ones that are probably easiest to memorize. Probably the top one is the one that just kind of clicks for you, ghvmath.com. But this website, I've had it for a couple of years, 5 years in fact. So you guys probably already know of it if you've had me before, but if you don't, there's a website. I just want to scroll through a couple of logistical things just so you know how to navigate it. You could scroll down the website for days. It's got pretty pictures and whatnot. Near the middle, there's a Today in the Classroom section. So I'll scroll here just so you can see it. That's where I kind of like after school today, I'll update it. So Today in the Classroom, it'll say Tuesday, August 25th, and then it'll have consumer will be updated with what their notes were and pictures. Geometry will be updated. Then you guys are pre-calc, so yours will be updated. So it'll have the new notes. So it'll be like book checkout, and it'll be website navigation, which is dumb because we're on the website anyway. But it'll have that on there. It'll have kind of the first basic like notes that we'll discuss. Now you can click on the picture. You can click on this little thing. It'll take you right to the actual notes. You can click on the word pre-calc or the learning opportunity. There's a ton of links there. They all give the same thing, but I want you to scroll up. You don't need to click anywhere. Okay, so at the top, and these are kind of hard to see. They're really small. I could zoom in if you want, but there's a bunch of links at the top of the website, the main site. It says daily lessons. That's the one that you guys are going to use. There's the archive, which is like the past 5 years worth of classes. Professional development, which is for teachers, because I'm a model teacher, so I have to have a website for that. Girls basketball, student council, chess club, if you want to join that, and then anything about me if you need to know something. I don't know why, but I have to have it on there. Now, daily lessons. This is the thing that you click. This would take you to the same links as the thing that Today in the Classroom would, like if you scrolled down for days. Now, when you click the daily lessons, it'll have a little drop down. It'll have like consumer, geometry, and then pre-calc. So you want to click that. And it should bring up the idea of like, it's basically called a carousel. It'll show you all the lessons we did. That's kind of the important site. That's the one like I'd almost recommend when you get to the website, you don't need to scroll down. Just click pre-calc and it'll bring up basically the main part of all the lessons. So this is what it looks like, right? It's got lessons, it's got a little like description what this class is about. It's got an online textbook link. Oops, I'm not supposed to have that on camera. Anyway, I might have to edit that out. But we have Khan Academy, SciMath, Wolfram Alpha. Wolfram Alpha is something that we'll use a lot in here. Wolfram Alpha, it looks like Google, but it's not. It doesn't scour the web for like information. It's like, think of it like an encyclopedia. Whatever's stored in the server, it just spits out the answer. It's a huge, like, crazy calculator. It's a supercomputer. It's run by Microsoft. It used to cost thousands of dollars for universities to use. Now it's free to the public. It's awesome. But that's something we'll use a lot to like figure out math answers for problems or look at graphs and stuff. Obviously we use Desmos if we have to graph anything. That's something probably you've used since Algebra 1 or even junior high math. That's something like if we have to go look at a graph, that's what we'll use. I have links over here to the side, but the online textbook is right here if you need it. Again, it's run by somebody else. Now, this is the carousel. So this is where all the lessons would be. So right now it's showing you chapter P, which is the prerequisite chapter. So that's yesterday. Today's, August 25th, would either show up on the right or the left side, but it will have its own little icon. So you can click it. Now, if we click on yesterday's, you can click it here, it'll bring up what we did yesterday. So on most days, it'll have detailed notes, example problems, maybe pictures of people's notes, that type of thing. I'll have the basic outline here, what we discuss. If there's homework, I'll have it assigned what the due date is, what the zero date would be, very clearly printed. If there's any PowerPoints, like today, we're not really doing a PowerPoint, so, sorry, apologies, decline that phone call. But if there's a PowerPoint, we'd put that in there, and then obviously the class video would be here. And so the class film is there, so you can click it. It's really hard to see. I used a white background, I probably shouldn't do that.
Okay. If the screen goes black, don't worry.
Okay, so there it is. So there's the website. I think it's pretty easy to see. You can turn on closed captioning, you can zoom in, you can do whatever you need to on the film. Should be in pretty high resolution. Today I'm not filming in 4K, I'm only filming in kind of 1080p, so it should look good anyway. I'll try higher resolutions later. But there's the website. Now, if you want to see kind of what it would look like if you're in the daily lessons and there's more than like one day, what it would look like, I'll just archive. I'm going to go to like one of the previous pre-calcs. I'm going to go to like 2018. All right. Here's what it looks like when you have a bunch of lessons in there. So this is chapter 2, right? So there's review days. There's even arrows so you can cycle through the days in chapter 2. So that's what it looks like when there's more than one. So hopefully that makes sense. It looks like it puts the new one always in the front, which is super handy. So you don't have to scroll to go find what date you're on. It just puts it in the front. That's really handy, actually. So, but there's the website. So I want you to get used to it. If you bookmark it, cool. If you never open it again, cool. Whatever. It's up to you. It's kind of nice if you need to go watch a film and you're like, maybe you're gone, you're sick, you just didn't get it. You want to watch it again. It'll be up there for the life of the website, which obviously it's been running for 5 years, so it's going to probably go a lot longer than that. So that's the idea. So it's for you guys. There's no ads. There's nothing on there. If you notice something's goofy, let me know. Sometimes they spell things wrong. Sorry, I'm human. It happens. But yeah, so I try to keep it updated. At some point, I'll try to find somebody in here that has really good penmanship, and I'll use their notes as like kind of the guinea pig, where I'll just take pictures of it every day and upload it to the website so everyone can see what their notes were. So you have exactly the problems and how to do the problems. So if you know you have really good penmanship and you want to volunteer, you can just email me later and I'll appreciate that. That'll be awesome. So I know others will appreciate that very, very much when they need to have notes and stuff. But don't rely on this as like your sole purpose of like, oh, I don't need to take notes today. It's going to be on the website, right? Take notes, seriously. Like, I don't want you to be that person that checks out. You got to be kind of engaged a little bit. All right. Questions on website navigation. Okay. Now, I sent out links to Google Classroom, I think about a week ago for you guys. So if you got any emails from me like, hey, join the Google Classroom, that's normal. I had to set up a Google Classroom in case we go online learning. So just be kind of aware of that. I think I sent out like a question a day kind of a thing to see if you're kind of paying attention. Today's question was like, what's my web address? It's pretty easy because that's what we're talking about. It'll be something similar, so it's easy to get kind of in there. So if we ever do distant learning, that's gonna be my way of doing attendance. So if that makes any sense to you, answer the question of the day. It'll be something very simple that we talk about. If you ever had to go distant learning, maybe you're not feeling well and you still want to zoom in. Like I said yesterday, I have a webcam. I'm going to webcam in, so I have the next class. I have a student webcamming in, so I'll have the webcam set up. And I'll have an AirPod in my ear, so they're gonna watch just like they're in class. That's their seat. They're gonna watch class, they can ask me questions like everyone else will, and no one will hear what their question is because it'll be in my ear. Then I'll still post the main video today. So, all right, questions with logistics. Okay, I had a really good question, period 8 yesterday. I don't know, maybe even you guys asked it too. What happens if we go online, let's say we do that at some point, and we have to take a test? It's a valid question. What if we have to? Here's what I kind of figure out that what I want to do. So if we ever have to take a test online, you just have normal notebook paper in front of you, okay? We'll zoom to each other, obviously, and I'll hold up a question on camera. I'll freeze the camera so you can see the question very clearly. And you answer it on your piece of paper, and I want you on Zoom so I can watch you answering it. So I can see that you have no technology in front of you other than a calculator. Nothing else is around you. You're not touching a mouse and keyboard. All your hands are where I can see them. You'll answer it on a piece of paper. I'll give you an hour and a half to take the test, so you get some extra time than 40 minutes. You answer it on a piece of paper, and when we're done with the Zoom, you immediately, without 1 second delay, you send me a picture of your work from your piece of paper. Does that make sense? So that way you're not relying on stupid clicking on Google Forms and you're trying to write things with a touchpad. That's dumb. Just send me a picture of what you did. And it has to be before the Zoom ends. So I'm giving you plenty of time to work on it. Plus, it's in your own handwriting and I can check that like normal. I'll just print it and I'll have a copy of what your work was. So I think that's the easiest way to do it. It's less stress on you, but the only issue, it requires that you have a nice camera to take a picture with. So like a cell phone, or it requires that you have some device that you can send me a picture. I had somebody last year during the first break that we had. They held their Chromebook and took a picture with the camera on that, and then it worked. It just looked kind of grainy, but it worked. So they didn't need any extra technology, but it was just they got clever, because they didn't have a cell phone at the time. So, all right. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Like questions you have? I did a lot of talking yesterday. I've already done a lot of talking. Is there anything that you guys can think of that you're kind of worried about, that you have, just little things I can't think of off the top of my head? Okay. I do require that you bring your textbook to class. I know that you have the online version. It's nice, it's handy, it's perfect. But it's not all the way perfect because it doesn't have every chapter. I think it has the prerequisite chapter. I think they call it chapter 0 on the online version. If you have the physical copy, it has hopefully every chapter in it. But again, your homework is the book cover. You need a book cover on it by this Thursday and Friday. I need to see it. Now, I'm expecting that we'll probably be on 2-hour delays for a couple days in a row here. So we'll have some shorter classes for the next couple days. So that's what I'm expecting. So I still want the book covers on by Thursday, Friday. Now, if you're that person that, you need a book, or you need a book cover, you don't have a bag, or you're not going to be able to go up to Hy-Vee, or you don't have that luxury, you just want something to put on there. I have plenty of paper bags I can provide if you need them. So if you don't like the book cover, because some of you got lucky, you just had a book cover on there. Sorry, they're at random when I pull them out. If you don't like it, rip it off, put a new one on there. It can be a Saki thing, but just don't tape it to the cover of the book. That's all I ask, please. Okay, I think that's pretty much about it. So tomorrow we're going to start hot and heavy in with notes. So when you come in here, make sure you have a notebook tomorrow. The subjects we're going to talk about tomorrow, I'll just write them up on the boards so you know what they are. We're going to talk about functions tomorrow. So it's kind of a little mini review of some algebra stuff. Not super deep and heavy into it. Just what are some things I want you to know that are good things to review before we start really hammering down some pre-calc, right? I want to talk about some functions. So it could be algebraic functions, have numbers and letters. It could be numerical, where there's just numbers and you can actually simplify it down to an answer. It could be expressions. This is something that I'm kind of worried about with you guys with exponents, right? Something like 3 to the 7th, right? But also getting to exponential functions where it's 3 to the x equals 15. Like where you have to use logarithms and stuff that you've probably never seen. Those are the things I'm worried about. Can we get to a point where you're comfortable with seeing some of this stuff, so you're not completely lost if I were to ask you to find something? Do you know how to use a calculator? That's another thing. You need a calculator, right? So at some point this week, if you don't have access to one, try to find a calculator. I'm not going to be providing them, so obviously we're going to do some calculations here in the next couple days, so you might want a calculator on you at some point. Go buy a cheapie, don't buy an expensive one. Just stick with cheap. I had a buddy that got through high school with just a $5 calculator. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. So, all right. I think that's it. That's all I got. I think you got 4 minutes or so. We're at here 49, so we'll call it there. It's good. Sorry that you had a long back. So, I'll post a video tonight